TikTok shop gives you 5 different ways to sell. Amazon gives you 1. We are talking to people who actually have purchasing power.
What do you believe is the recipe for the success of TikTok?
We need to understand the platform first. When we create content, we understand what the users are thinking of. So that is the number 1 question that I get all the time. Sorry, but this is very honest. People don't care about you or your brand or your product. Users are not what they used to be.
So TikTok Shop, this is kind of like the hype war, no? So there are many people in the industry talking about TikTok Shop. TikTok Shop started in the US very recently, but in Europe even like closer to today. And many people is super excited with it, right? But they do not really know what to expect from it. So different, so complicated, massive amount of creators, different way of bringing traffic, marketing. So we are talking today to all these people. And for that we have Carmen Muley. Carmen is an expert coming from TikTok expertise in China, in the US, and now in Europe. Is here with us today to kind of like clarify all of these doubts that many of us brand owners or agencies have. Welcome, Carmen.
Thank you very much for having me.
So first question, right to the point.
Let's go.
Is TikTok really a platform only for young people dancing and spending time or wasting their time?
So that is the number 1 question that I get all the time, because that's what actually brands think. You know, like when TikTok first started, we had this young audience that was basically like dancing and just, you know, having fun within the platform. But every time that I have this discussion, I say that same thing. Look, all these people have grown up and yeah, they're still dancing, they're still entertaining, but now they have different interests. So now they're using the platform in different ways, and now they're not anymore those 18 years old that we used to think about. Now they're grown-up people, they're growing up people, and there's like the audience right now is a lot larger than it used to be. And also in terms of age, sometimes we think that we're just talking to like those 18 years old, but for example in Spain we see that a huge amount of that audience within TikTok is over 35 years old. So that tells us something as well, and is that we are talking to people who actually have purchasing power, and that's important for us if we want to sell inside of the platform.
Okay, so the actual demographics you said is in Europe, at least in Spain, is above 35 years old.
Yeah, the average.
The average is 35 years old. But you can still find people of 40s, even 50s. So there
Absolutely.
is market for this kind of...
Yes, absolutely. So actually, for example, we have been working with some supplement brands, and we see that the sales come from a lot of people who are 45 plus. Okay. So that's really interesting. And then for some other specific supplements, like the average age goes to 55 plus. So we're not talking again about those 18 years old or like 20 years old that are super young and that are just having fun within the platform. Of course, we know it's a discovery platform, but still users are not what they used to be.
And what do you believe is the recipe for the success of TikTok, not only in these young generations, but also moving upwards to these age ranges?
So there are different things that we need to take into account. We need to understand the platform first. The first thing is that, as I mentioned, TikTok is a discovery platform, and users go into the platform to get entertained. They don't want to think too much. They just want to relax. So we need to like really take that into account, so that when we create content, we understand what the users are thinking of. So let's say that I am a brand and I want to sell fashion. I don't want to go straight into like, hey, look at this dress, it is so beautiful. We want to entertain the audience and show within our content like, oh, this dress is making me look so beautiful and so great. Or like, hey, I went to this date and this dress made me look fabulous, and like the date went amazing because of this dress that I was wearing. We want to create like a story within all the content that we're sharing. It's not just like, hey, look at this product, it is amazing, just purchase it now. those are the things that we need to understand.
So people is mostly for discovery reasons on TikTok and for entertainment?
Exactly.
Could you say that?
Exactly. They want to enjoy their time. It's, you know, they want to discover something new, or they're just scrolling and then they stop when they see something that actually, that catches their attention.
And then from this discovery phase, coming down to potential purchase, I mean, it's a long journey, right? So why do you believe TikTok Shop is being able to get themselves, to get people from this awareness part to discovery part to direct purchase?
So I would say there are a few factors here. The first thing is that, well, as I said, users are discovering new things. So if we are talking about a pain point that the user has, they're going to pay attention to that. And if we are able to provide a solution, then they're going to be more willing to buy. There's another factor, which is the creator factor. Users tend to connect and to trust other creators. So this helps a lot when it comes to like finalizing the purchase. If we're working with creators, or if we as a brand are showing up consistently and we can somehow add value to those people, then they're going to be more prone to actually purchase. But then we also need to think about what kind of products we're going to be selling, because as we know, TikTok is super fast. So if they are on a discovery journey, we need to be selling products that's going to be easy for the consumer to purchase, so that they don't need to think too much, especially like, for example, price point wise.
So you mentioned one important thing, that this trust, no? So people is in the platform and potentially they could be buying a product because they trust the creator that is explaining about it, no? So that's very interesting, and that makes me think like, what are the big difference of the other kind of like big social platform, at least in Europe, that is Instagram versus TikTok when it comes to trust?
I wouldn't say, like, if we're talking about the shopping part, I would say that the complication is more on the friction that the consumers have to purchase. Because, you know, if they trust you on Instagram and you send them a link on for example, a live stream or to your shop within Instagram, that's gonna work. But it's not easy for the consumer to purchase. It's not seamless. However, on TikTok Shop, you already have the product within the video, and they can just purchase, and it just makes it a lot easier. So the trust is the same, because if they trust the creator in one platform, they're going to trust it as well on the other. But when it comes down to the purchase, it's a different story.
Okay, super clear. So now if we move to TikTok Shop, and I am a brand, and I want to really take advantage of this new wave, I want to go into TikTok Shop, what are the realistic expectations I should have? What amount of resources do I need? What efforts will be required for me, for my team, to start to see results on TikTok Shop?
So there are a few things to take into account here, and is that TikTok Shop is a platform that compounds. So when you start, you have no data, you have no information, you don't know anything about what your audience wants and if they are going to purchase your product or not. Of course, we can take platforms like Fastmost and Caludata to see if the product that we want to sell is going to have traction or not. But we need to understand that it's a complicated platform. So we need to make sure that we have good content, quality content in high volume as well. And if you are able to nail the organic part of the platform, it's going to be a lot easier for you. So first thing is we need to make sure that we have content in volume. Then we need to count on creators, because this is going to be different as well for every brand, because not every brand is going to be able to send samples and all those things. So we'll have to think of what is the right strategy for each of them. But let's say that you are a brand that you can send samples to creators. That's going to be really good for you, because creators should create at least one piece of content and share it on their own profile. So that means that your product is going to reach their audience. That means that you are going to be reaching new audiences, so they are discovering your product. And that if you, as I said, if you compound all those views, then you're putting your brand into a lot of new eyes every time. So working with creators is super interesting and super important. And then the good thing also is that with creators, you can build your sales army because they're going to be selling for you, but you are going to just pay them a commission on sales. Then there will be other types of strategies. If the creator is a really good creator, selling a lot, then you may want to have like a retainer with them or like a fixed fee or something like that. You need to negotiate. But yeah, first is the content, then is the creators, and then is the GMV Max ads. So everything that works, you want to make sure that you push it with ads so that you're going to bring in more revenue. And then of course we have live shopping, which I always mention is my favorite one because it is like you are selling directly on a live stream and you can actually connect and you can interact and you can answer to questions. And if somebody asks about a product that you're showcasing, you have the chance to actually like, hey, this is what you need to know about the product. I am answering to your question right now. And like, oh, maybe I have an offer that I can give you right now and you can purchase right here, because once I'm gone out of the live stream, you won't have this chance anymore. So it's also like a fun way, interesting way of selling.
Super interesting.
Yeah, and then of course we have the showcase, or like the storefront, where we have all our products and where we need to make sure that we select the right products for the platform. We have to have different types of products. Some of them should be viral, so they're going to bring in all the views, and some of them should be like those hero products, which are the ones that get sold the most, like our best sellers. And then we need to think as well of all those products that are going to actually bring in the revenue for us. So like we need to strategize all those things and then put it all together. And then that's how we win on TikTok Shop.
My God, you just gave us a masterclass on TikTok Shop in 5 minutes. Let's try to see if I, as a brand owner, an agency, I have understood all that I need to start tomorrow. No? So I need quality content. And I need it on the volumes. So it's important, no? Because, yes. I mean, the more you put, the more chances you have
exactly,
to get something viral.
Yeah, and that is the thing. Every time that you share content, it's going to reach a new audience. Because again, we need to think discovery. Yes, so the more content you share, the more people you're reaching out, the more people are going to know about you, the more chances you're going to get to actually sell. You know, like you need to think about this as if your own e-commerce store. When you send traffic to your e-commerce store, the more chances you get to sell. So this is the same thing. Like the way that you send traffic to your product, to your store, is through content or through ads. And then content can come through like affiliates or through your own.
Yeah. So I need to create organic content. But then you mentioned creator sales as a sales army. I love that. And particularly when you think about in the past, this full influencers bubble, where you need to pay them fixed fees and then the return on investment was normally very, very low. But now TikTok Shop is basically opening you a big amount of creators that you will only pay, or initially you will only pay if they sell.
Exactly.
That's very interesting. Still you need to send a sample, right? So, I mean, and the sample, you have the cost of the sample, you have the shipping cost. No? Okay,
yes and
tell me
no.
more.
Yes, because if you have like an open collaboration, creators can just add the product to their showcase. So maybe they don't create a video with your product if you don't send the sample. But it could happen, for example, that the creator has that product at home and they create the content anyway. Mm-hmm. So you can generate sales that way anyway, and you did not send any samples. And like every creator actually has the chance to add that product to their showcase, and it's going to be there, you know.
Still, would you recommend to brands, kind of like if they want to start in TikTok Shop, get ready to send big amount of samples? We are talking on the hundreds. right?
Yes.
So let's be ready. And
Yes.
then some people, some creators will have the product at home and maybe they can start
Yes, no, if
doing the
you want to
content.
work with creators, you need to, like, again, it's a volume game. And then it happens many times when we work with brands. I tell them, like, okay, hey, you need to think about maybe sending 100 samples this month and then an extra 100 samples next month. And, like, along with that, work with the creators, because you don't want them to create just one piece of content. You want them to create more so that it's
Yes.
also worth it for you. But I get some brands that tell me, like, no, I just want to send 5 samples. Okay, so your chances of
Success is
are
very low.
super low. Yes. Also because it's just what I said, the more content that you create, the more chances that you have to, like, reach new audiences. And also the selling angle is very important. If you only create one video, you're only testing one selling point. But what about all the other ways or all the other benefits of the product or all the other reasons why somebody could purchase your product? Those things need to be tested.
I also guess, Carmen, that all these creators, your sales army, I love this concept. You also need to nurture them, no? So at the beginning, it's
Absolutely.
kind of like a cold first contact, okay, maybe first videos, you send a briefing. But then after that, you need to have kind of like your own tribe of creators that you need to nurture to make sure you are kind of getting the best out of the platform.
Yes,
Is that
so
fair?
yeah, absolutely. Like, that's another thing. I have worked with brands that tell me, like, yeah, I've contacted this many creators, I've sent these many samples, then the content's not good, and then I go, like, did you brief them? What do you mean? So it's like you need to help the creators out. You know your product, they don't. What do you want them to say about your product? What do you want to put out there? Help them a little bit to create that content also. And then it's a good thing if you, like, cooperate with them, because you can also repost that content. Then if everything works out well and they make sales, you can ask them for the affiliate link so that you can push it with ads as well. So it's really important to build a relationship with the creators. And then, of course, at the beginning, there are going to be lots of contents that don't work. They're just going to flop. And your job actually is to find those creators that are like a gold mine for you. And then from there, you find other ways of working with them. As I mentioned, maybe you have a retainer, maybe you, like, give them
High rewards, so if they reach X level.
yeah, you can also gamify that experience. You just work as a brand with them and try to provide them with a meaningful experience for them as well. So it's not, so they don't feel like, okay, I just received the product, I need to create this and let's see what happens. You don't want to.
You need to build a relationship.
Yeah.
Okay. So then, in terms of traffic, so you have your store in TikTok. Okay, you have your products store there. This is very similar than Amazon, Shopify. Have your store there, the way the product detail pages work, etc. But then you need to drive traffic. And the ways of driving traffic, you said, it is organic content. You can generate the content in your channel. It needs to be qualitative. It needs to be as much as possible. Then you can, let's say, work with creators for them to create content for you. You can do live shopping. This could be also organic, or it could be, from a creator also doing live shopping for you, I guess.
Yes, they can.
And then the last piece, and I believe that's important for people to understand, is GMB Max, you call it. And this is the PPC of TikTok, no?
Yeah,
This
that's
is the
TikTok
ads,
Shop ads.
the paid traffic.
Yes.
Okay, can you tell us a little bit more about how is it, and if you can compare with kind of like we are used to Google, Amazon, Meta, kind of like traffic sources? Paid traffic sources.
Yeah, so the good thing about GMB Max ads is that they are a type of ads that are already optimized to drive sales. So when you set those up, they're going to be looking for consumers that are more prone to actually purchase. That's super, super powerful.
That's very interesting.
Yeah. And then if you compare to other platforms, the cost is usually lower than in other platforms. Let's say Meta. Usually Meta has higher costs than GMB Max ads would have. So one thing that we need to like be super clear about with GMB Max though is that we only want to, of course we're gonna have to test like different creatives, different angles and all those things, but if we want to go hard on GMB Max, we want to make sure that we push content that is already working organically, because if your content is not good and it's not performing and you push it with ads, you're still gonna get results, because what I said is that GMB Max Ads is gonna look for people who are willing to purchase. But if you can just push the video that's already working organically,
you double the chances.
Exactly.
Okay.
So, like it's gonna be more profitable for you at the end of the day.
Okay, I believe we all understand this a little bit better. Thank you, Carmen. Okay.
One more thing.
Oh.
Yeah. So we need to think also about search on TikTok. That is why it is so important to optimize the products within the platform, because even though consumers usually are just discovering new things, some others go and search for specific words. If they search for the keywords that we put within our titles and our descriptions, then the product's going to appear on top of the page as well, on the search page.
That's very interesting. I mean, we come from the Amazon world where keywords were kind of like king, and then you need to stuff your keywords everywhere. So that's very interesting. So in TikTok Shop, you need to more or less think the same way. You need to have the right keywords that people are searching for, because people actually, I read some studies out there that many people on Gen Z is starting their product researches on TikTok and not in Amazon or Google anymore. Because it was a shift from Google to Amazon, but now the new generation are shifting to TikTok Shop. Is that correct?
Yeah, so they search on TikTok, not necessarily shop, but they search on TikTok for things, and then the products will appear on top. So that's something that we need to understand as well.
We should not miss that one. Very important one.
Absolutely, yeah.
And in your experience working with brands, what are the biggest mistakes a brand is making whenever they are starting on TikTok Shop without not knowing much?
I don't know which one to go for here, because there's so many things. Like, for example, there are brands that, let's say they're selling their catalog is 3,000 products, and they go and upload the whole catalog, and they expect to sell all the products on TikTok Shop. That's really hard. Like that's not gonna happen. You need to have a product strategy. You need to know like what are the products that you are selecting, and you need to have reasons to push like specific products. Also, when you work with affiliates, this is a classic. So they have all these products, and they go like, okay, I'm gonna send 5 different samples to like different types of products to different creators. That's not helping the platform, because you want to know what is that one product that's going to kill it in the platform. If you have, I don't know, let's say 20 products, and from those 20 products you choose 5, and then you send all, like, let's say you're gonna work with 100 creators, and you send 20 products to this one product to 20 creators, this other product to other 25 creators. It's not helping, because you want the platform to understand that, oh, this one product is interesting, this one product, like people are looking for it, and this one product is getting interaction and is getting sales. So when working on TikTok Shop, we need to make sure that we have a strategy and that we think about how can we make 1 or 2 products be outstanding within the platform.
So you recommend to focus, to have a clear portfolio strategy, focus on 1, 2 big heroes?
You're gonna have to test, because you have no idea at the beginning what's gonna work and what's not gonna work. That's why we're gonna use like those
tools, no?
Tools,
research
exactly.
Tools.
But we don't want to go broad with all the products that we send to creators. We want to, like, let's say, be very specific with what we're doing.
Surgical, no? Like,
Yes.
Tell us another mistake, big mistakes.
So just not creating content for the platform, or like creating content that is just salesy. People don't care about like just sorry, but this is very honest. People don't care about you or your brand or your product. So
Okay.
yeah.
Humble bath.
Yeah. So if you go like just creating the content, like purchase this or like purchase that or like this is my brand, they're just gonna like scroll through your content. You're gonna get no views, no sales, no nothing, and then you're gonna be frustrated and you're gonna be like, oh, TikTok Shop doesn't work. But that is not the thing. You need to create content that's good for the platform.
Wow. Okay. So now, if we go super concrete, so we are, or some of our viewers here have a brand in Europe. Tell us what would be the 90 days startup plan to start getting some return on TikTok Shop.
So, like, this is something that we need to think about as well. Like, what does the brand want to achieve? Do you want like quick success or do you want long-term success? Because they look different and you need to...
Let's say long-term success. Let's focus on that one.
Okay.
Because we are super professional brands, all
Okay.
the ones that are viewing here.
So for long-term success, we need to make sure that we master our content game. As I said, that is the first thing. You start creating content. If you can produce it yourself, that would be the best because you're growing your brand within the platform. If you do not have the resources to create content in volume, then work with a lot of affiliates and make sure that you try to find the best affiliates as soon as possible so that you can switch to like that sales army that I mentioned, that you can build that community and they help you sell. And that usually, like, you need to like look for the creators, you need to start the conversations, you need to send them the samples. So that alone is already going to take you about a month or a month and a half, like if we want to be realistic. Yep. So that's why I was mentioning also, because if you want to have like quick success, you can start pushing the content with ads and start testing also products. But we need to understand also that the product that sell through ads may not be the same products that sell through video content, like from creators. So we need to like check those things out. But yeah, the step-by-step would be first knowing the products that we want to work with within the platform, then working with creators, then pushing the ads once we see that something works, and then including live shopping as well, because the brands that are actually winning are the ones that are using all the tools that are available within TikTok Shop. Of course, you as a brand are going to implement, so depending on the resources that you have and like how much you can take. But yeah,
super clear.
Yeah, and of course, if you are on TikTok Shop, you want to make sure that you like, let's say, play with the platform, so you know they have all these missions and all those things. So whenever there's a mission, try to achieve it. Whenever there's a campaign, if it works for you, try to be part of it, because TikTok likes brands that get involved and that actually use all the different things that the platform has to offer.
So this is TikTok Shop offering brands the participation on certain mission, they call it. It's kind of like they can get a specific cuts on the fee if they kind of like post certain content, or you can participate in campaigns with certain discount and maybe TikTok helps you with a discount. Is that
so?
What
Yeah, so the thing is that obviously, like, actually TikTok wants you to win in the platform, because if you win, they win. So they, like, these missions, for example, are created for you as a brand to grow within the platform. So they push you like, hey, if you create this amount of content, then you're gonna get free shipping on this amount of
units.
Yeah, or if you push this amount of content with paid, you're gonna get a cash rebate on, like, for this amount. So they're looking for ways for you to actually work with the platform.
So we brands should take advantage of all this.
Absolutely.
Cool. Okay, and so we are in Europe, now we are in France, we have the Alps just behind us. We are both Spanish, but we live in different countries. But most of our viewers here are European. Okay, and TikTok Shop recently arrived into Europe, no? So how do you see the evolution of TikTok Shop as a total global platform? They're landing into the US a couple of years ago, and the current status of things in Europe, and how these relate with opportunities for European brands to start now, or maybe wait. Tell us.
So if you have the chance to start today because there are less competitors. So just about 2 weeks ago, I would say there are already about 12,000 businesses doing TikTok Shop in Spain, about 14,000 businesses doing TikTok Shop in Germany. Those are a lot of businesses in under a year that the platform has been alive. So those ones who started on the early days and who did not give up, because this is an important thing, I always tell brands that they need to think of this as if it was an investment, right? So you're going to start with the platform. We normally see that the first couple of months are very slow, and you need to think about that as an investment because you're learning about the platform, you're learning about what it works, and then it starts compounding, it starts growing, and then you see like those results. So you need to be willing to be pushing the platform for at least 6 months to see if you want to continue pushing. But anything under that, it's not, it doesn't make sense. So you need to think of it like as a long-term thing. And if you can start now, start today, as I mentioned, because the more that you wait, the more businesses there will be inside. And also, as TikTok grows, the commission rate that they have in the platform is also increasing. So as you know, they started with a 2% and then with a 5%, and now in January they're changing to a 9%. So if you did not start in year one, like you're never gonna get that lowest commission from the platform anymore. So if you have the chance to start today, just start today. I mean, don't wait. But yeah, of course, you need to take into account as well that not all the countries in Europe are open. So you need to be set up into one of those countries, which are Spain, Italy, Germany, France, and Ireland. And
the UK?
But the UK does not count as cross-border. So if you do UK,
specific.
Yeah, if you do UK, it's only UK. If you do US, it's only US. If you are in Europe, in these regions that I mentioned, you can open your store in all those regions at the same time, and you can sell to all those regions. But you also need to make sure that your company is set up in one of these countries, because otherwise, like, you won't be eligible at this stage.
Okay, that's really similar than the FBA, European Fulfillment Network of Amazon. So for us sellers that we are used to Amazon, so TikTok is basically also providing the opportunity for sellers to create their account in one of these 5 countries and then start selling in all the 5 at the same time, right?
Yes.
Still with all the language barriers. I mean, you will need to have a specific strategy. So I guess, no, like in Amazon. Okay.
And then also TikTok Shop now offers Fulfill by TikTok. So for those brands that cannot take care of them, like of the shipping themselves and all that, then TikTok can do it as well. TikTok and TikTok Shop have different algorithms. So when you create content for Shop where you tag a product, that content is going to reach audiences that can actually purchase. So if you are in Europe and you create content and you're selling, let's say in Spain, in Italy, France, whatever, then that content is going to reach all those audiences. So that's a really good thing as well.
In the Amazon world, we used to say, like, is it too late to get into Amazon? I believe in my mind is now, is it, of course it's not too late, I mean, because they just started, right, in TikTok Shop, but could it be too early? Do you see some things on the platform, on the tools that it brings that are still way behind in Europe than in the US or in China? So maybe for big brands, they should wait a little bit more?
This is an interesting question because TikTok itself just keeps developing every day. Like every few weeks, there will be something new within the platform. So we kind of need to like play with it. But I think that's also the beauty of the platform, that we are growing with it, like literally growing with it. As the platform evolves, we need to evolve as well. Then it happened also in the UK, that it started back in 2023. Then they had to stop a little bit, and they reopened again. And then in the US, it's a lot more established, and it hasn't been actually open a lot longer than the rest of Europe, but also the market is bigger and everything. So we need to think that, let's say, whatever that's working in the US is most probably going to work here as well. And in terms of being too early, I wouldn't say that it's too early, but you need to be prepared to evolve with the platform. And so, for example, we have seen as well in the US that the thing was creators, but now the platform also wants you to invest more on ads. So we need to be conscious about those things. Now TikTok is making things easy for everybody to go in, but then things will be getting more complicated as we go. So
yeah, I believe we could compare that as if in Europe you are a seller and you would have started in year 2 of Amazon marketplace in Europe, or in year 1 even for some European countries, which is kind of like an amazing opportunity. So if we remember back in the days, the sellers that started at that time really leverage all the big advantage of all this compounding organic traffic,
exactly.
compounding learnings about the platform. So then when the big amount of brands really came 5-6 years in, I mean, these brands didn't have the same advantages as the initial one. So definitely looks like the right moment, right?
It is. I think it's good to be an early adopter. That's the thing. Obviously, you need to put in the effort, which is a lot, but I think it makes sense because it's just getting bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. So why would you miss the opportunity?
Let's see how big it gets, no? So my next question would be, okay, so Amazon is the dominant player in the Western hemisphere, and TikTok now is coming like hard, no? So we have been talking on this.
Strong, yeah.
So how do you see TikTok Shop competing with Amazon and probably other marketplaces that are around the European and the American ecosystem?
I think TikTok Shop is very powerful, and I don't know what is the market share that they already have, but we definitely need to look into that, because in year 1, year 2 of TikTok Shop, they're already making billions and billions. So I mean, we need to think about how much it has been able to grow in such a short period of time. And it's a platform that people use all the time. So at this stage, like we need to understand this. We are still at this point in which many users don't even know how to purchase on TikTok. They don't know. So we are still educating people on how to buy. And this is something that we also do through the content that we create. But let's say in 3 years, everyone knows how to buy on TikTok. In 3 years, people don't need to go to Amazon to I'm just saying, don't hate me for this. It's just, I mean, right now they go and maybe they don't trust TikTok Shop so much, or they don't know how to purchase, or oh, this is a social media platform, I don't know if I should purchase from here. So we see that halo effect on Amazon, we see that, and they go and compare prices and all those things. But in 3 years' time, everybody knows how to shop on TikTok Shop, and it's so convenient. They just need to click from one video or from whatever other part of the platform, because TikTok Shop gives you 5 different ways to sell. Amazon gives you one. You go into the platform and you look for the product and you purchase. So it's a different game.
So definitely I agree. And I believe TikTok Shop is going to be the main Amazon competitor in Europe and in the US. So I believe brands, we should get into the game now. It is the right moment. And also we have been researching for what brands that work in TikTok are already doing in TikTok and what is the compounding effect it has on Amazon as a halo, as a bouncing effect. No, some people get to know you in TikTok, but then they end up buying on Amazon.
Else.
It is massive, and considering how Amazon works, that it really rewards when you are bringing a lot of traffic, and then the algorithm is giving you more organic traffic. So definitely TikTok is a great source of traffic, source of volume. So it's not only because TikTok as a platform will be the biggest competitor of Amazon very, very soon. It's also because now starting on TikTok and doing well on TikTok is having a big effect into your Amazon sales and can get you kind of like ahead of your competition also on Amazon. So we see this compounding effect now as one of the main reasons for which we, our brands and our partner brands and in our academy we teach that we should start now.
Exactly, and then it's not only on Amazon, but those brands who have their own e-commerce store, they will also see peaks of sales when something...
Yep.
So,
indeed.
Yeah. But that's another thing that's really important. You need to make sure that you have enough stock because otherwise...
Oh, yes, stock. Because in TikTok you can get big spikes on sales, no? Okay, so logistical executives here, I mean, careful with that. If TikTok comes into your sales channels, I mean, be aware that this can happen and be ready for that.
It can happen, and it can happen at a moment that you don't expect it. So that's another thing. Regarding affiliates, an affiliate may create a piece of content today, nothing happens, and 3 months in, content goes crazy, super viral, and then you were not prepared for that.
Carmen, thank you so much
for
your masterclass, right, in this very beautiful scenery here on the Alps. Thank you so much. Great to meet you. We hope to keep collaborating a lot with you.
Thank you.
And thanks to the audience.